Why my wife doesn't want to have sex. You know, we did a DVD why my husband doesn't want to have sex, and we got some response of what about my wife doesn't want to have sex. So this few moments is for you. Why your wife doesn't want to have sex. But it's going to take a little time because it's a little complicated, because women are a little more complicated. So hang with me, guys, and you're going to find out a lot of information. Now, I've been listening to wives for the last 25 years. We talk about sexuality every day in my office. So I'm not just some guy sitting on a rock coming up with some ideas. This is what I do for a living, is listen to wives tell me about this stuff. Now, I'm going to give you some key things that women have told me that are their own issues. These are the things that they struggle with and they need help with to be able to desire to have sex, okay? Now, the first thing women have told me in conferences and in my office is they're too busy. They're just plumb tired. Now, remember, your wife doesn't have the same battery size you have. She doesn't have the same energy. She probably wants to get to bed earlier. She doesn't have the same like testosterone in her body that you got in yours. So, because God made you bigger and stronger, you can help here. All right, we'll talk about that later. But if you can just put the kids to bed on a regular basis, if you got small kids, or if you can find ways to take things off her plate when you come home, that will help a lot. Rule of thumb, guys, the first hour when you come home is your wife's. Ask her what she needs you to do. You will be able to get more things done in an hour than she will in 2 or 3 hours because you're faster, you're efficient, and you really don't care. You don't care where the towels came from when you're folding them. You don't care where the dishes came from. You don't have any memories of that. So you're a lot more efficient. You're not romancing the process. You're just getting it done. So make that first hour hers. That can help with the busy problem. But if she's really tired, try to figure that out. I mean, vitamins are great, of course, energy, all the B stuff. She can do that for herself. But that may be a real issue. The second thing is probably something you've never heard of. So take about the next minute and write these things down. It's called intimacy anorexia. Now, if this hits you, okay, as it relates to your wife, I want you to go to intimacyanorexia.com and get the whole download on this thing because it's serious, okay? This has nothing to do with you. She would have been this no matter who she married. Of course, unless you also have intimacy anorexia, then it may be a reaction to yours, may or may not be. But let me go through this real quick. Here's the characteristics, and keep track of if these are true for your wife. She's so busy, she has little time for you. Lots of time for the kids, volunteering, spiritual activities, community service, but for you, very little time. Blame. She blames you for all the problems in the relationship. Very rarely will you hear your wife say, "I'm sorry" or "I'm wrong." It's always your fault. You're the problem, okay? Love. She withholds love from you, especially the way you receive love. If it's touch, if it's praise, however you receive love, she's gonna squeeze that down. Now, how do you know she's withholding it? Because when the relationship really feels threatened, she knows exactly how to get in your good graces and make you feel like you're loved again, like you're a man. So if you see that happen and it disappears like a week after the conflict, it may be intimacy anorexia. Praise. She withholds praise from you. She doesn't tell you you're awesome, you're great. She's excited about seeing you, loves you, can see your gifts and appreciate those for you. You don't hear praise from her, okay? Let's see, withhold praise, love, sex. She may be withholding sex from you, and it may be intentional, okay? Now, it could be a response to some of the things we'll talk about later, but if she's anorexic, she's withholding sex from you because she wants to withhold sex from you. That's a whole nother thing, okay? Another thing, unwilling or unable to share feelings with you. You know, girls are supposed to be able to talk about their feelings, but your wife doesn't talk about feelings. You have to like really get in there to try to find out what she's feeling. It could be intimacy anorexia. Using anger or silence as a way to control you. You are controlled by her anger or her criticism. I mean, her anger or her silence. She may not talk to you for days or weeks at a time, or hours at a time if you said something that made her, a little miffed, or she'll get really angry at you, okay, to push you away. Now, the thing with intimacy anorexia, it's to create distance with you, and to blame you for the distance is ultimately helpful for the intimacy anorexic, okay? She may control or shame around money issues, like she can spend but you can't spend. Ongoing or ungrounded criticism of you would be very common. So if you feel like you got 5 or more of these with your wife, intimacy anorexia is the monster, and you need to find out about that thing because it is an addictive process inside of a marriage that can ruin you. You feel unloved, you feel unwanted, you feel married and alone. If you're getting me right now, listen for the next few minutes for the rest of the stuff. But if this is what's going on, make sure you do more research on this, because we do 3-day intensives, 5-day intensives. Women can get help from this, but it is serious stuff because they get really willful about changing on this. So the other thing could be, switching topics, is depression. Some women who are depressed, low energy, difficulty concentrating, difficulty making decisions, worthless feelings, possible suicidal thoughts, low energy most of the day. Those kind of symptoms are depression. Do some Google on that, find that symptoms. That may be it. There's non-medical things to do there. There's medical things to do. Find out what's the cause of that. Could be really helpful. Another thing, which you and I don't struggle with as much, is the hormone imbalance issue. If her hormones are out, I mean, sexual desire can drop. If she's had a hysterectomy, that can definitely affect her hormones, and that can drop, and she could have almost no sexual desire. And that happens to be somewhat normal for the women who've had that process. So if that's the situation, you want to find out about hormone replacement therapy and issues like that. Lastly, as far as her issues, could be grief. If she's had her mom die or her dad die, or one of the kids are going through a really hard time, or she's grieving about something, that can shut her down sexually. But what you want to do there is find out what she's feeling and try to work with her there, connect with her. And these could be issues: busy, intimacy, anorexia, hormone, and grief. Those could be issues she's going through as to why she doesn't want to have sex with you. Now, let me tell you, women have an interactiveness about sexuality that you and I may not have as much. We could be mad at our wife and still want to have sex with her. Okay, but if she's mad at you, if she feels disrespected by you, that's going to affect her sexually. So I want to go through a few points. Now, hang with me here, because you may be able to solve your own problem. If nothing I've talked about so far applies, these next things might. Okay? The first thing is, if you have a sexual addiction, if you have a secret pornography life, if you're masturbating or cheating or doing things sexually and you think you have a secret, she feels your secret and she's repulsed by it. She feels distant by it, and she doesn't want to have sex with you. She feels something's not right. You're closing your eyes, you're fantasizing during sex. If you're fantasizing during sex, your wife feels it. You're not getting away with it. She may never talk about it, but she knows she's not getting all of you. Your eyes aren't open, lights aren't on, you're not talking to her like a person, you're talking to her like a piece of pornography. A lot of ladies who are mature, that doesn't do anything for them. Okay, so you want to be careful. If you have addiction to pornography and sexual behaviors, deal with that, because that's part of why your wife doesn't want to have sex, because she feels negative reinforcement. She feels more empty and taken from than given to during sex. These are other simple things. Just not keeping your word. If you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, she thinks she's married to a boy instead of a man, because a man keeps his word. And repeatedly, again and again and again, you only do what you want to do, not what you said you would do. She's going to shut down sexually on you, because she's going to disrespect you. And rightfully so. Okay? So that's part of the way you could solve that. Next, if you're not helping around the house, like you think the house is her job to do everything, you are totally shutting her down sexually. That's her world. And if you don't want to come and play in her world, she's not going to want to come and play in yours. Again, the first hour when you come home, make it hers, do dishes, clean up, do homework, get whatever you got to get done, so she doesn't have as much on her plate. Because as long as something's spinning in your wife's brain that she needs to get done, there's less energy for sex, and there's less thinking about sex. If you get that stuff done, you're a rock star. But if you're one of those guys that come home, drinks a beer, and sits in front of TV, you honestly don't deserve great sex, and you're not going to have it. Doesn't matter who you're married to. She needs to feel like you're cooperating in her world, not just all about you. Another thing, if you're one of those guys, you're not sharing feelings, you're not praising your spouse, maybe you're not praying with your spouse, wow, that's what turns her on, is having an emotional and spiritual intimacy. And you can get any of our books about that. The intimacy book on marriage would be great for you to learn how to identify and communicate your feelings. Let her talk about her feelings, praise her regularly, and you can have a better environment in which she feels like, yeah, I like this guy, I want to be close to this guy. Let me give you a tip. If you've gone this far, you deserve this tip. Men are aroused by physical proximity. She just needs to be in the room. Okay? We're kind of simple. Women are sexually aroused by emotional proximity. How close is my heart to your heart? Okay? Now, the better you get at sharing your feelings, the closer your wife feels to you. Now put one and one together. If she feels close to you, she wants you sexually. If she feels distant from you, you don't talk about your feelings, you just grunt and moan, that's not a turn on. And so she feels further away from you sexually, so you got to work a lot harder to get sex, okay? I share 2 feelings with my wife every day, I pray with her every day, and I praise her every day, and I got lots of sex. I have lots of sex because I do those things. Lots of sex is a result of being a man who's disciplined inside of a relationship, okay? Now, if you have intimacy anorexia, she's definitely turned off because she's not getting love from you at all. And if you do, you want to settle those issues. Now, guys, I hope this conversation was helpful because maybe there's things she needs to deal with. Maybe there's things you need to deal with. But here, you deserve a great sex life together, all right? And if you need help with that, you can always call us here at Heart Dark Counseling Center in Colorado Springs. We'd love to help you with a 3-day intensives, or you can chat with somebody. I would love to see you have the best sex life possible.